Having announced his Afghanistan strategy in March, President Obama now seems afraid to make a decision and unable to provide his commander on the ground with the troops he needs to complete the mission.
He's back. This time it's not about torture. Dick Cheney taking on the Obama White House on Afghanistan.
And we thought he went away, but he's back and he's got a bow tie on and he's just as strong as ever. Top Line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABCNews.com's Top Line. I'm David Chalian.
And I'm Rick Klein.
Each weekday we're bringing you the very latest political headlines, reporting, insight, analysis, everything you need and want to know about politics.
And what you need to know can keep going all day long. It's twitter.com/The Note to keep the conversation going.
Get us started, sir. What is your top line?
All right. Pay cut. President Obama's pay czar is recommending and actually enacting a major pay cut to the firms that are receiving significant TARP funds. This is a big statement from the administration. It isn't President Obama in particular who is enacting this, but the fact that his pay czar is going out there and taking a strong stand, it suggests that there's an opportunity here for the president to channel some of that populist outrage we've heard against Wall Street.
Whether or not they're just playing politics or if this is also good policy is something we'll discuss. Upping the ante. Yes, you just saw Dick Cheney there, the former vice president of the United States, calling the current president of the United States nothing short of being a dithering coward, basically, on Afghanistan. And whether or not the White House takes the bait on this will be interesting to watch, because remember, they need the Republican support should they decide to surge troops into Afghanistan.
As always, he's mincing words, dithering coward. What does he mean by that exactly? Docs meet discipline, a rare setback for both seniors and doctors on the Senate floor yesterday. A filibuster is not broken. The doc fix is not happening after all. I got to say, I'm a little surprised by this, and it's a rare victory for people who just tout fiscal discipline. This isn't about the policy. This is about not being able to afford it.
It's unbelievable when you see sort of just a smackdown of the politics here to sort of, it seems like deficit politics trumps senior politics in this scenario. And holding at 60, yes, that's right. The Democratic Senate Campaign Committee Chairman, Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey, stopped by here yesterday. We're going to play some sound of a little interview we did with him later. But Rick, his main goal is to make sure that Democrats next year emerge still with a supermajority in the United States Senate, or perhaps putting some of the Obama agenda at risk.
History against them. We'll see what he can do.
We're going to begin with the big healthcare and economic debates that are taking place up on Capitol Hill. We are now joined by Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown, a Democrat of Ohio. Sir, thank you very much for being here. I know you've got a vote to get to shortly, so we'll try to get through a couple of quick things here. I want to start with this idea that we're hearing from Ken Feinberg and about this executive compensation cap and pay cuts for a lot of these folks that are the top folks working at these banks with TARP money, taxpayer money. Is this, I get how the politics plays here. I understand there's a populist anger out there in the country, but is this the right policy, or are we now not going to have the smartest people available to us working at these banks to help get the taxpayers paid back?
So where are these, if we deal with executive compensation, where are all these smart people you talk about going to go? I mean, I just don't buy that at all, that if you don't give them executive bonuses of tens of millions of dollars, if they're only making $1 million a year instead of $10 million for the next year, that they're all going to go disappear and go work where? I mean, it just doesn't pass any straight face test.
Work for companies that don't have TARP money. Work for companies that have already paid back their money.
Where have these people led us? These brilliant people in Wall Street that have produced so much money for themselves, and they're such geniuses. Where have they led this country? They've made money for themselves, but they're not funding, they're not capitalizing, they're not providing credit to manufacturers in Mansfield, Ohio, a group I met with last week, or when I was in Findlay last week, and I hear problems. They can't get credit for small business, they can't get credit for manufacturing. So I just don't buy this. These brilliant minds out there that went to Harvard Business School are making the world safe for democracy. No, they're not. They're making the world safe for themselves, but they're not helping the economy. And to me, I don't care if they make millions, as long as the economy's running better. But when they drove it into the ground and they want to keep paying bonuses themselves, no thank you.
Right. All right, Senator, I want to ask you about health care. Sure. Obviously, you're a strong proponent of the public option as part of the health care bill. A lot of buzz about what it's going to look like in the final bill, and a lot of talk about the trigger option. Is a trigger good enough for you, or do we need a strong public option, in your view, right off the bat?
No, the trigger doesn't work. I mean, more than 50 members of the Senate are supportive of the public option, a straightforward public option, even if it's a state opt-out, that a state can decide not to participate, but really a straightforward public option. The trigger is a way the insurance companies win, and the insurance companies are going to get 30 or 40 million new customers even with a public option. They don't need to write this legislation. They've had too much influence, as have the pharmaceutical industry, in this chamber for too many years. And those days are over.
Okay.
Public option is going to keep the insurance companies honest, and they're going to compete, and they're going to bring prices down. And what's more Republican and free enterprise and pro-market than competition, good old-fashioned American competition, and bringing the price down?
Senator, yesterday in an interview with Talking Points Memo, you said this bill's going to have a public option when it comes out of the Senate. It's going to have an even stronger public option when it comes out of conference. What is going to be? I need you to explain that a little bit. What's going to be stronger about the public option out of conference than out of the Senate?
Well, I think probably out of the Senate, it might have a state opt-out. It might have something like that. I'm guessing, I don't know. I mean, nobody really knows.
Right.
The bill coming out of the Senate will look a lot, or coming out of the conference committee, will look a lot about the language that Senator Whitehouse and I wrote in the Health, Education, Labor, Pension Committee that we passed out of that committee 13-10. So it's clearly a majority of the Senate agrees with that. A majority of the House agrees with that. I think that's where we end up. And 70% of doctors, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation poll recently supported it. 2/3 of the public supports it. I mean, this makes sense. It provides more choice. It keeps insurance companies honest. It's going to drive down costs through competition. Why would we not support something like that?
Well, that'll be the question for a number of your colleagues, I suppose. Senator Sherrod Brown, Democrat of
Glad to do
Ohio.
it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.